Hello, this is Ian, Somerset News Network. Isn't it strange how things happen? There was a peaceful demonstration in Epping at a hotel that had illegal migrants. One of the illegal migrants is accused of trying to assault a 14-year-old girl. So mums and dads want to try and protect their kids, so they protest, and there wasn't a problem. The local police turned up, the protesters were there, and everybody was happy. Unfortunately, it looks like another police unit was used. We think, allegedly, the Metropolitan Police used vans, police vans, to transport the far left anti-fascist protesters from Epping station to the demonstration. And then they bussed them back again, saying, oh, they were bussing back far right agitators. They tried to use the excuse that the trouble was far right. They tried to say they were Tommy Robinson supporters. A lady at the demonstration invited Tommy to the demonstration in Epping. So the press picked up on this and said that it was organised by the far right and Tommy Robinson, or words to that effect. Tommy Robinson came out and said that if he went, it would take away from the locals, and it's a local dispute and he won't be going. Do you get that? So the press are saying one thing and basically telling lies. Nigel Farage tried to highlight Antifa turning up at the Epping demonstration at a press conference. Now, I was watching the press conference on GB News. My wife was watching the conference on BBC in the kitchen. So she came in and just said, BBC just cut off Nigel Farage as soon as he mentioned Antifa. I said, yeah, he's just done it here. He pointed out that Antifa had come and was causing the trouble at Epping. Do you see how this works? The BBC are in on this as well now. Not that they haven't been all along. You see, and they're now saying that there's going to be a summer of unrest and that it could turn into riots. Well, nobody's talked about riots. All the protesters have talked about is sorting out the illegal immigrants. And the press are calling them asylum seekers. No, they're not. They're illegal immigrants. They have entered the country illegally. They've come across on all these little boats. And the mad thing is, we've gone out into the channel and picked them up. We're aiding and abetting in the crime. They should be in prison, not in five-star hotels. So, because of the problems in Epping, what they've decided to do is move some of the migrants, I don't know if it's going to be all of them, but move them into a hotel in the Isle of Dogs in London. Well, the protesters started there. They closed the hotel and there's railings all the way up round the hotel, and they got security in there that allegedly sacked the staff in there and sent them home. People have booked rooms at the hotel. They're turning up and they're speaking into the two-way comm and saying, I've booked a room for tonight. and it costs £400 a night to stay there. Now these are foreigners coming to this country and in all good faith booked a room at a 5-star hotel to be in London, and especially in the Isle of Dogs. And it looks like an absolutely wonderful hotel. I couldn't afford to stay there at £400 a night. But how is this going to look if they're social media influencers? I wouldn't call myself a social media influencer. I'm just saying what I think, having my say. So what happens if one of these viral influencers has booked a room and then it goes all over the internet? This country is looking really bad. Don't they understand that? You know, you try and project your country as welcoming to tourists. London wants tourists, because it's almost become the crime capital of London. You know, and a lot of the criminals are illegal immigrants. There was a report on the telly this morning that the police are cracking down. Oh, excuse me, I've got a bit of a frog in the throat. The police are cracking down on illegal drivers for food companies, you know, food delivery companies. Because these illegals are coming in, haven't got a driving licence, and they're driving around on scooters, delivering your pizzas and your Chinese and what have you. But it's only isolated. Oh, look what we're doing. But it's all over the country. It's not just London. I suspect it's happening all over the place. They're into drug stealing. They're into the black market. They're into stealing. They're into paedophilia. Because that's what sexually assaulting a child is. A child is somebody under 18. Or at least somebody under 16. And they're saying, oh, it's a sexual assault. No, it's not. It's paedophilia. Sex with a child is paedophilia. So they're paedophiles. I don't care about the colour of their skin. I don't care about their religion. The police are scared to try and stop it because now there's too many of them. And what I was going to talk about was the press are now talking about there being a summer unrest at demonstrations at these hotels. Yes, there might be. People, I think, have had enough. You can only push the Englishman so far. And then he stands up and says, hang on a minute, this ain't right. Now, why are they saying that it's possible riots? Now, we've seen it at Epping, that Antifa come in and cause the trouble to try and blame the peaceful protesters. They're calling the peaceful protesters far right. And they're saying that the trouble is being caused by the far right, when in fact it's the far left under Antifa who are pro-immigration. You know, I don't know what you're going to do. The High Court case, I think it was Nottingham, where a group of girls took the police to court for taking part in a pride march, because the police have got to be seen to be independent. And the the court ruled in their favour, saying that the police were wrong to be a participant in the Pride March. What happened at Epping then? The police picked the far left pro-immigration protesters up, anti-fascists, Antifa, from the station to Epping. And they caused the damage to the police vans. They never got arrested. They got picked up again in the police vans and taken back to the station. Now the court's already ruled that that was illegal. So somebody's got to start asking questions. Who gave the orders for the police to pick up Antifa and take them to Epping? How far up the chain does it go? We got the suspicion that the Metropolitan Police were involved. Well, that means the Mayor of London's in charge of them, aren't they? Did the Home Secretary get involved in this? Did the Prime Minister get involved in this? Did he know what was happening? Questions have got to be asked. There has to be an inquiry. I don't want a public inquiry. Just want an inquiry, and I just want to know the truth. Who allowed the police to be used as a bus service from the station to the Epping Forest protest? Simple. But what do you do when the people that are supposed to uphold the law are breaking the law? When they're corrupt? Now, on the Isle of Dogs, this posh hotel, 5-star hotel, at £400 a night, has now got a protest outside of there. How long's it going to be before Antifa turn up and cause trouble? And the press will be blaming the locals for it. I think by the weekend, I think more people will come out on Saturday and Sunday, and Antifa will turn up and cause trouble with the police again. You wait and see. Now, in protests that have happened before, that I've been involved with, troublemakers have turned up, left wing, against us, against the group that I was reporting on. I was a reporter at the time for a magazine, taking photographs. There was a report that I was given that I was never published, but I wrote it in the article anyway. I needed a photograph of it, and in those days we didn't have phones with photographs on them. One of the students that was on our side said that there was a notice on the Students' Union notice board that there would be a coach going down to the demonstration to have a go at us. And they were going to be paid £10 a day and a packed lunch. Well, if that's the operation that they use, the way they do it, are these Antifa people paid for the day for demonstrating? What would they be getting now? What, £100 a day maybe? Free transport because the police brought them in. Do they give them money for food? Interesting, isn't it? I'd like to know if they're paid for this. Paid agitators. And if they're paid agitator and coming in with the police, then the government's involved. Do you see? So somebody's got to ask the Home Secretary what's happening. Now, I'm thinking that more people will turn out on Saturday, because it's Thursday, Friday now. People will be at work. Saturday, there will be a crowd of locals. They got the day off and they'll go down and they'll protest. Now, there's schools around the Isle of Dogs. And you're shipping in people that are known to assault children. So you can put them in a hotel right by schools. And there's a nursery about 100 yards down the road, they said. How crazy can you get? One person I was having a talk to this morning said they ought to be in holiday camps and barbed wire around and not allowed out. There was a report from somebody who works in one of these migrant hotels. Said they get free food and board. They get a choice of top-of-the-line mobile phones. They get £70 a day. Or £70 a week. Sorry, I got that wrong. £70 a week. If you're unemployed, you don't get that money. I think it's £54 a week if you're unemployed. So why are they getting more money? Crime is not supposed to pay. If they're an illegal immigrant, they are a criminal. It's a crime to come in this country without a visa. Full stop. So they're criminals. So the government is aiding and abetting in a crime. How crazy can you get? The government have got contracts with a company that the civil service don't technically house the illegal immigrants. They come in, they allegedly process them, they then put these illegal immigrants, because they're not asylum seekers. They're illegal immigrants. If they were asylum seekers, they could gain asylum by applying for it. The system's all upside down. The rules are that if you're an asylum seeker, you have refuge in the first country you come to. Now, when we were in the EU, what was happening is they were going to Greece, they were going to Italy, and they were going to Spain. Then they were coming back into this country because they were technically an EU citizen. And we couldn't stop them. Now they're coming across in boats. We're not in the EU. They are illegal. And we got to stop it. Oh, they're using the Human Rights Act. So the Human Rights Act condones criminality, which it's not supposed to do. The government is complicit with the crime. How do you stop it? I'm not sure. The only thing we can do is just keep talking about it, explain what's happening, and the more people that are woken up, the more traction we've got, then the politicians might decide, hey, hang on a minute, we've got to do something here. That's why you had the report last night that the police were clamping down on illegal drivers on scooters delivering food. You see, this is how the game's played. We've got to stop it. And we're all in the game. You can't stand back and say, oh, nothing to do with me. If you're on social media, if you're on X, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, just say you want the boat stopped, and you want the illegal criminals put in prison and sent back home. Simple. It's not racist. It's not a hate crime. It's a point of view. And how can be pointing out a criminal act be a criminal crime or a non-crime hate incident, they call it, don't they? I've got to get the words right. You know, it's craziness, and it has to stop. I admire everybody that's going out on these protests, and I support them. And as long as they stay peaceful, I'm with them. If Antifa come in, then the police have got to stop it. Because the Antifa is acting in a criminal manner. They're the criminals. They're creating the riot. And the police should be arresting them, not the locals. They should be supporting the locals for free protest. Free, peaceful protest. Anyway, Ian, I just had to say something. I couldn't let this go anymore. If you agree with me, say so down below. If you think I'm right, then please share this video. If you think that I've got something to say and it's worth listening to, then subscribe and you won't miss another program. I'm not the greatest orator in the world, but I'd just like to have my say, what I think. And I think I speak for about 90% of the population. It's just common sense stuff. And the only way to put a stop to it is for this common sense movement to have the traction and get the momentum, so the government knows that we are going to stop it by peaceful means. I'm afraid, although I've got reservations about voting for reform, it looks now that we've got to support reform to get rid of Labour. Because we can't trust the Conservatives. We've had enough of them anyway. And Liberal Democrats, well, no way. Oh. So it looks like we're going to have to vote reform. I'm not going to become a member of reform, but when they're right, I will agree with them. And when they're wrong, because I'm not a member, that will allow me to speak out. I just don't like the way they manage their people. They've got rid of 2 MPs so far. They ought to be making hay while these demonstrations are going on. And it's what they're doing, the way they manage. It's overriding the good message that they've got. Anyway, Ian, I've done enough talking. Bye-bye for now.